If you're interested in the idea of home winemaking, you're in good company. People have been making wine at home as long as there's been the idea of home itself. For tens of thousands of years, people have been making not just drinkable wine, but great wine. Hi, I'm Tim Vandergrift, Technical Services Manager for Wine Expert. Thanks for joining me today on this video on how to make your own wine. Now, winemaking is a natural process. In fact, if you did nothing more than stuff some grapes into a jar, they'd eventually split, the juice would ferment, and it'd become wine. It'd be a little bit rough and ready. But with the application of some technology, but very little muss and fuss, you can make wine that'll have people saying, "You made this?" Now, don't worry that you don't know much about wine or winemaking. Everybody starts somewhere. Now, we're going to take you through the rest of this video and make sure you understand every step of the way. Here's some quick facts about home winemaking. First, making your own wine is completely safe. Because of the nature of grape juice and the fermentation process, wine is always going to be safer to drink than water. Well, unless you have one more glass than you really need. Second, you can make wine as good or better than the wines commercially available in restaurants and liquor stores. The same premium grapes from top quality vineyards that go into commercial wines go into kits. Places like Dry Creek in Sonoma, Stag's Leap in Napa, and the Stellenbosch in South Africa and Marlborough in New Zealand all supply grapes for Wine Expert kits. Finally, it's much simpler and more economical than you might think. In the course of this video, we're going to show how it only takes a couple of hours of time altogether to make 2.5 cases of wine. And the cost of equipment and ingredients will pay for itself in a single batch. What's not to love about a hobby that's fun and inexpensive? Your first step is to visit your local home winemaking retail store. They'll have all the equipment and raw materials you need to take your wine from pitching the yeast right through bottling and labeling. They're also your closest source for answers and advice as you go along. It's a good idea to get to know them. For choosing a kit, pick what you like to drink. Don't worry if you're not yet a big wine aficionado. That doesn't preclude you from knowing your own taste. Do you want a fruity German white, or do you prefer a dry Italian red? Do you order white zin with your chicken salad, or do you want California Cabernet with a ribeye? Make what you like, and you can't go wrong. Once you've decided which wine you want to make, you're going to need some equipment. Here we are with a basic equipment layout. First off, we've got an open primary fermenter with a lid. This has to be about 30 liters to accommodate the fermentation of the wine. Next, we've got a carboy. Essentially, it's just a closed glass bottle where the wine will go into after the primary fermentation is complete. Along with that, you need a bung and an airlock. This is a kind of a one-way valve. Put a little water in here, and it closes off the top of the carboy to allow fermentation gases to come out and to prevent anything from getting into the wine. Next up, you need a stirring implement. A spoon has to be food-grade plastic or stainless steel and long enough to reach the bottom of your vessels. Next up, for measurements, you're going to need a test jar and a hydrometer. This is very important. This will measure the density of the juice and allow you to track the progress of the fermentation. We'll go into that a bit more later. You're also going to need, very importantly, a food-grade thermometer. Now don't worry, these don't contain any mercury, but they're essential for measuring the temperature of the juice to let you know if it's warm enough or too cold for the yeast. You're also going to need a siphon rod, which fits into the carboy and the primary fermenter, and a siphon hose, so you can get things from one vessel to another. You're also going to need a food-grade measuring cup. That's good for mixing things. You're going to need a wine thief, and aside from its name, a wine thief is pretty innocuous. It's a hollow plastic tube used for getting samples through the thin neck of the carboy. In addition to that, you're going to need some cleaners and sanitizers. These are food grade and they're very, very good for winemaking. Be sure to follow the instructions that come with yours. Now, if you were trying to assemble this all by yourself, it could take a little while and you'd have to run around. Fortunately, we've got it all packaged up very neatly in one big box. Okay, now we've got our equipment, we've chosen our wine. Let's go join our friends Julie and Paul as they make wine for the very first time.